So I was on a panel this morning talking about the global challenges to cybersecurity experts, CISOs, and so on. And I see a number of those, and I bump into them on a daily basis. My initial thought is that too many CISOs and security people focus on their organization and don't think of the wider picture. They don't collaborate, they don't talk, they don't aid each other through improving the interchange or the exchange of data and the talk about how they're dealing with challenges and what their problems are. We've seen this many times. I at one point worked for the government in CERT UK, and we had an information sharing platform. We brought together lots of people, but some of them were very, very talkative, and some of them just didn't. They saw it as a commercial advantage not to do that. It was, if someone else gets hacked, that's a good thing. And very soon, once one or two of them had been hacked, they started realizing this is very much a team sport. So looking outside your organization, looking outside your box, and looking outside the technical world that many people think CISOs live in is the biggest challenge I see by far. Second thing I think I'd say is the focus on, leading on from that, the focus on technology. CISOs tend to be information security folks who've come up through the ranks. While that is valuable, boards don't care about technology. Boards care about the processes they run, the systems they use to deliver the end value to their customer. That's what they're interested in. They're interested in business. So a CISO needs an ability to take those technical problems, translate them into board speak about businesses. So you don't go in and say, the website's down, this is a disaster. You go and say, the interface we use to talk to our customers is down. You might change the wording, but it's about the customer. It's what does that deliver to the board for them to make money or to do their business? So that's really important. Third thing, I think, is, to be fair, the increasing specialization within information security and information security workers. So I am blessed to have my job. I'm incredibly lucky. I have one E-grade A-level and a BTEC. I was at the right place at the right time all the way through this. And because it was at the very beginning of the information security sort of world growing up or even being born, I just happened to be in the right place. So I was at Citibank when they built an information security center. I then worked through forensics as we built that up, and I led their global forensics team. CERT UK, the government of the UK decided to build a national CERT. That happened to be when I was sort of looking around for another job. I applied, it never crossed my mind I would get the job, and I did. Very, very lucky. I have no qualifications in what I do. That sounds as though, I don't know if that's imposter syndrome or boastful. It's not. It's just a natural accident. And these days, that education is hugely important. I would not hire myself if I turned up in front of me for an interview based on my experience. I would look down and say, he has none. But I have experience, and that's where I'm very lucky. What we're trying to do now, I think, is to really nail people into you're a CISO or you're a malware tech analyst or you're a blue team threat hunter or you're a defender or whatever. And people are becoming very specialized, and that doesn't give them the broad base of knowledge to then become a CISO, which is where I think this kind of organization and this kind of qualification that Lancaster is doing, hugely, hugely valuable, because you can take people and meld them into a wide-ranging piece rather than a focused piece. I think that's really important. So I think, again, an MBA is a business administration. The clue is, again, sort of in the name. We're trying to take cyber techies or people with an interest in cyber and make sure they understand the business world that we live in. So too many people get worked up about tech, firewalls and routers and hubs and systems and operating systems and that. It's important, but a true CISO, if he's working at the level he should be working at, doesn't really need to know that level of detail. He needs to know how that interacts with business and how his board are going to take that interview and how he can translate those things. So as I said, if it's a website's down, fine, a website goes down. What business process does it affect? What can the board not do now? Can they not talk to their customers? Can they not deliver business? Can they not take applications for loans? Can they not sell cars? All those things. That's what they care about. They don't care that a website's down. They care about what it's interrupting. And that, I found, is very rare that a CISOs are able to make that jump between the two. If you're going to be successful, that's the piece you need to work for. So leadership is, as we've talked about already on this morning, leadership is almost an indefinable thing. Leadership is about leading people. It's not about managing them, it's about leading them. And understanding how you can take techies who often are not natural leaders. They're often people who are interested in technology. That's why they came into this world. They're interested with the weeds of all the hardware and software and bits and pieces. But you need to move them out of that space. Alternatively, you take people who are gifted in other sectors and take them into that space. So it's a crossover of the two. Some of the finest CISOs I've met have got no technology background, but they understand what technology delivers, they understand how to articulate that to the board, and they have teams of people who know the tech. So it's about taking the two things. You're either taking tech folks and converting them into leaders and people who can articulate business processes and stories that help the board understand, or you're taking people who already can do that and helping them understand the cyber tech that feeds into that. So I think there is a huge shortfall. I mean, we talk about the cyber skills gap a lot. You know, taking the few of those people who are going to become CISOs and are gifted in that extra specialization or that slightly different space will be challenging. We need more of them. More companies need to be doing this properly. You know, I look around and you see companies where there is no CISO. You know, there'll be some guy who does it as a part of his day job, but that's not good enough if we want to move into the world in a secure manner that keeps the end consumer safe. So I think there will definitely be a skills gap. I think taking those folks and moving them into that is a challenge. I think what we need to do, to be fair, is remove the boring drudge work of cyber, if we can, and allow people to learn and move up on that progression ladder, career ladder. But the problem is we're not good at doing that. We have far too many idiot vulnerabilities that are been around for years that aren't patched. We have people being hacked for no good reason. So we spend a lot of our time dealing with dross, which is not particularly fun for anyone to deal with. You know, you're doing the same thing day in, day out. If you could solve some of those problems with things like cyber hygiene, with actually building more secure systems, that would allow people to have more interesting jobs that would allow them to progress through that and up into the CISO space.